Hi guys, this is extremely disappointing. As we know, the Tories have been pushing hard to remove a whole range of rights citizens and workers possess, from the right to take industrial action to the right to protest against the government. We saw during the coronation a heavy-handed approach from the Metropolitan Police against peaceful protesters and those that were organised, not spontaneous ones. So when David Lammy, the Shadow Foreign Secretary, was asked if a Labour government would repeal such draconian measures, this is what he had to say.
As a Labour government to repeal this legislation, which is totally unnecessary, given that you agree it's unnecessary, and the other legislation this liberticide government has passed, which is attempting to control and repress our right to protest and our right to oppose legally and legitimately
Phil,
actions by our government.
This repeal question, you get this a lot in politics. We can't come into office picking through all the Conservative legislation and repealing. It would take up so much parliamentary time.
What the F? What? Jesus. Is David serious here? Suggesting that a Labour government couldn't repeal Tory policies or Tory legislation? Then what's the point in voting for the Labour Party? This is an honest question. You're running on a platform, we're not the Tories. We're going to undo the damage the Tories have inflicted upon the United Kingdom. Well, how did the Tories inflict damage on the United Kingdom? Through policies and legislation. If you win a majority, you can undo that legislation. People are expecting you to do that. People are voting the Tories out in order for you to undo their damage. Why is this so... Is David sort of giving away the game here? We're actually going to be like the Tories. We're not actually going to repeal any of their legislation. Now, look, maybe I'm misunderstanding him. I hope I am. But I'm getting the impression that he's saying here, well, we can't undo this. Well, you can. If you have a majority, you can repeal this legislation. You have the power to do it. This is insane. You've been banging on about how bad the Tories are, and now you're saying, well, we can't actually repeal the legislation. Which is not true. You can do that if you have a majority. This is insane. Does David think that the Tories didn't repeal Labour legislation when they came into power? This is how politics works. You can't... Yes, you can't repeal all of it because you don't have the time. But on things like worker rights, to protest, dumping raw sewage into the sea, railway, the NHS, things that you would expect them to repeal, things that the Tories have done, you would imagine the Labour Party would undo. I said before, elections are referendums on the incumbent. Are people happy with the Tories? No, they're not. They want the Tories out. So if you want to replace the Tories, you have to sell them something different. You have to say, well, we're going to undo the Tory damage. To say that, well, we can't do this is insane. Or maybe I'm missing something. Why should people vote for you if you're saying you're not going to undo the damage the Tories have inflicted upon the country? Honestly, you don't like their policies. You don't like the legislation. You voted against the legislation in the House of Commons. They were able to push a lot of this legislation through because they had a majority. Surely you're going to repeal that and have your own legislation. Repeal it and replace it with something better. Or maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.